The government has launched an ambitious national skills program to connect 20 million young Nigerians to job, training, and entrepreneurship opportunities by 2030, with women expected to make up at least 60% of participants. Vice President Kashim Shettima made this known yesterday as he assumed chairmanship of the reactivated board of Generation Unlimited (GENU) Nigeria during its inaugural meeting, which coincided with International Youth Day 2025. In a statement released by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nwocha, Shaitima noted that the national skills ecosystem faced the trilemma of exclusion, disconnection from livelihoods, and inadequate infrastructure for large-scale hands-on training. The Vice President also added that the training would align with the National Skills Qualification Framework to ensure Nigerian youth possess globally investors, saying new measures will target idle oil assets and drive sustainable production growth. A statement by the minister's media aide, Nneka Okafor today, said incentives that will ensure Nigeria remains an attractive destination for energy. Chevron Nigeria Limited's general manager, NNPC, and Chevron joint venture, Segun Kuteyi, expressed optimism about the company's future in Nigeria and lauded the minister's commitment to collaboration. The Nigerian government plans to reduce revenue retention added to Nigeria's revenue generating agencies. The decision was reached at the Federal Executive Council meeting yesterday, presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. According to Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy of Nigeria, Wali Edun, the President specifically called for a reassessment of NNPC's 30% management fee and 30% frontier exploration reduction under the Petroleum Industry Act (PIA). Recall that a Nigerian Senator, Abdul Ahmed Ningi, raised an alarm over the non-payment of contractors last year, outlining the purpose of the review. The Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, said the move is to boost public savings, check profligacy, and unlock resources for economic growth. Former President Goodluck Jonathan today said he is being impersonated by fraudsters. He alleged that a fraudulent Instagram handle has been impersonating him. In a statement released by his media aide Ikechukwu Eze titled "Beware of Fake Instagram Account Impersonating HE Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan," he stated that this attention has been drawn to a fraudulent Instagram account operating under the handle Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, which is falsely impersonating him. The former president cited that impostor's account has been deceitfully posting content, some copied from his Facebook page, while pretending to represent him. He strongly advised the public to disregard, avoid sharing or promoting any content originating from the fake profile. The special advisor to the president on policy communication, Daniel Bwala, has cautioned against luring Jonathan back into politics in what he described as attempts by unscrupulous elements. Amid growing calls for former President Goodluck Jonathan to join the race, Bwala warned that such moves could damage the international reputation Jonathan has built since leaving office in 2015. A presidential special advisor, Daniel Bwala, has said that Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of Labour during the 2023 election, will not be the flag bearer of any political party, including the African Democratic Congress (ADC). Bwala also noted that the votes Peter Obi garnered at the 2023 election had been reduced by 50% because his achievements at the last election was not built on agenda and politics, but they were built on rhetoric and division. while pointing out that the former Anambra governor may not get the vice president's slot. He bragged that President Tinubu will secure 2 million votes in the southeast region in 2027 election. The 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party (LP), Mr. Peter Obi, has accused President Bola Tinubu of insensitivity to the situation of Nigerians with his constant foreign travel amidst Nigeria's myriad of economic and security challenges. Obi, in a post titled, "Again, our president moves as the nation bleeds" on his verified X handle, said, "Amid the deplorable state of the nation in all ramifications, the country have a virtually indifferent president who has continued to display insensitivity to our situation." He questioned why the president, who came from Brazil recently and met with the president, is returning to the same country, leaving the various degrees of challenges at home unresolved. He described the situation as deeply worrisome, accusing the president of refusing to visit any of the troubled states but takes joy in traveling to foreign countries at the slightest invitation or excuse. Senior advocate of Nigeria, Adeyinka Olumide Fusika, in a televised interview says the fight against corruption in Nigeria will remain ineffective unless there is genuine political will, warning that the country's governance system has been taken over by corruption.
ICPC, the system, the EFCC is just tokenism. EFCC and as an institution, ICPC, the system itself has been overtaken, overwhelmed by corruption.
He cited that the effectiveness of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) depends less on its leadership and more on the resolve of political leaders to shield it from interference.
The effectiveness of the organization depends more on the political will. This criticism has been on from Obasanjo's time when the institution was set up. Oh, he's using it against his political opponents. He's doing this, he's doing that. So it's a standing criticism. So how effective it is depends on the political will of the people in power to ensure that the organization is independent, allowed to operate free of influences and so on and so forth.
He stressed that how effective anti-corruption can be depends on the political will of the people in power, that if the country is not functioning well, it will affect everyone, and it is the duty of the citizens to save the country from its current state. You are listening to News Express on Adamimogo 107.7 FM, transmitting live from Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti. After the break, Canadian court declares APC and PDP as terrorist organization. Details of this and more when we return.
Hello, good people of Ekiti State and its environment. For your private, political, family, or club meetings, and so on, of not more than 50 to 100 participants, we introduce to you Adamimogo Event Hall. Yes, right at Olojudo's Palace, Adamimogo 107.7 FM's compound, Ido Ekiti. Ample parking space, good security, clean environment. You also have the opportunity to book for a media publicity of your events on our fast-growing social media platforms. All these for a talk. Simply visit us at Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti, or call the following numbers for more inquiries: 0803-526-5812 or 0916-340-0878 or 0806-511-4430. You can also call 0806-380-8891. Adamimogo Event Hall. We are waiting for your patronage.
Glad to know you're still there. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Adamimogo 107.7 FM. For happenings around you or news inquiries, please call our newsroom on this number, 09157868095. Now to the rest of the bulletin. The Federal High Court of Canada has upheld a ruling that classified Nigeria's two major political parties, the All Progressive Congress (APC) and the People's Democratic Party (PDP), as terrorist organizations, while denying asylum to a former member, Douglas Egbereva, over his decade-long affiliation with both parties. In a judgment delivered on June 17, 2025, Justice Fuong Ngo dismissed Egbereva's application for judicial review after the Immigration Appeal Division (IAD) found him inadmissible under Canada's Immigration and Refugee Protection Act (RFPA). According to the People's Gazette, the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness had argued that the APC were implicated in political violence, subversion of democracy, and electoral bloodshed in Nigeria. The United States Department has approved a potential $346 million sale of ammunition, precision bombs, and precision rockets to Nigeria to bolster its military capability against terrorism and illicit trafficking. According to the State Department, this proposed sale will support the foreign policy goals and national security objectives of the United States by improving the security of a strategic partner in sub-Saharan Africa. The proposed sale will improve Nigeria's capability to meet current and future threats through operations against terrorist organizations and to counter illicit trafficking in Nigeria and the Gulf of Guinea. The agency stressed that the sale would not alter the basic military balance in the region and that Nigeria would have no difficulty integrating the ammunition into its armed forces. It added that the $346 million figure represents the highest estimated value, with the final cost dependent on requirements, budget authority, and signed agreements. Comfort Emerson, an Ibom Air passenger who was recently released from the Kirikiri Correctional Center, Lagos State, following an altercation with some of the airline hostesses, has not decided on whether she will press charges against the airline. According to Emerson's lawyer, Adefunke Maria, she said the idea on whether Emerson will press charges or ask for compensation will not be communicated publicly, pointing out that she is a full-grown adult who is capable of deciding on her own.
Speaking on way forward from there, whether Comfort will allow the sleeping dogs, like she will inform us. We can't disclose that. We can't disclose that online. Of course, if she's going to press civil charges for compensation, she will let us know. And she will let us know the next step to take. But for now, we can't decide for her. She will revert back accordingly.
The lawyer condemned the treatment of her client by the airline's flight attendant, who blocked her from disembarking and confirmed that her client needs to rest and put herself together. The president of the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA), Afam Osigwe, has called for the retraining of the crew members of Nigeria local carrier Ibom Air, following an incident with the airline's air hostesses and a female passenger, Comfort Emerson. Osigwe, in a televised interview, mentioned that a meeting should be held to discuss the etiquette of crew members and the procedures for airline bans, as well as the process of carrying them out legally in a civilized manner.
They call for public review of how people treat each other, how air hostesses and cabin crew react to certain situations, and there should be established protocol on how a passenger sought to be arrested from an aircraft should be taken off that aircraft. Dragging the person on the floor and down the aircraft stairs would appear not to be one of such ways. I would not want to be the kind of face we present to the world.
Osigwe faulted the actions of the airline staff's members who filmed the passengers' behavior, exposing her nudity and further degrading her, subjecting her to public ridicule. Human rights activist Femi Falana's son has said the government withdrew the case against the female passenger because of its refusal to charge Fuji star Wasiu Ayinde Marshal aka Kwam1 with the appropriate criminal offences. Falana, who made this revelation in a statement, also frowned at the way the government is handling the case against Kwam1 over his recent conduct at the Umadi Azikiwe Airport, Abuja. He alleged that the government has lost the moral right to prosecute any unruly passenger who commits an offense at any of the nation's airports, while lamenting that the government hastily accepted Kwamwan's apology and granted him pardon without allowing the police to conclude its investigation. Nigerian lawyer Barrister Zukulaini Sanit-Shangwa has expressed fears over the decision of the Independent Electoral Commission's (INEC) on the right of prisoners to vote during any election in Nigeria. Despite agreeing with the development, he however called for the strict measures to be put in place so that the political class don't take advantage of the new development. The lawyer emphasized that both security agencies and INEC must put measures against corrupt politicians who may use this opportunity to rig any election. Prophet Sam Olu-Alo, a renowned cleric and the planter of Christ Apostolic Church (CAC) Adamimogo Grace of Mercy Prayer Mountain Worldwide, has called on wealthy Nigerians to use their resources to create jobs and empower young people. He made the appeal during his ministry's 8th annual 30 days fasting and prayer program in Lagos State, where he also provided skills acquisition, training and startup capitals to hundreds of unemployed Nigerians. Prophet Olu-Alo highlighted that his ministry provides yearly training in various vocational skills, including tailoring, welding and cell phone repair to at least 5,000 Nigerians. The Nupe community in Ilorin Emirate has declared support for the second-term ambition of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the governorship aspiration of Senator Saliu Mustafa representing Kwara Central District. The endorsement came under the platform of the Nupe Progressives of Ilorin Emirate, after what the group described as extensive consultations and the recognitions of the two leaders' track record of performance and engagement with their community. Speaking on behalf of the stakeholders, the convener, Miyakio, the Nupe of Ilorin Emirate, said the community had never enjoyed such recognition and inclusion in governance as they have under Senator Mustafa, while also commending President Tinubu's effort in stabilizing the nation. On the business scene, fuel consumption drops to 1.44 billion naira in June 2025. Adetinuyo Adebayo is our guide.
Good evening and welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) released Bank Customer Bill of Rights and Obligations to the public. The report released at the CBN Fair held in Lagos with team driving alternative payment channels as tool for financial inclusion, growth and accelerated economic development. He insisted that a bank customer has a right to be informed, right to choose, right to safety, right to privacy and confidentiality, and the right to redress. Others include right to good service, right to equality, and right to free monthly statement of account. Still on business, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority (NMDPRA) has reported a significant decline in fuel consumption for June 2025, with total fuel evacuation falling to 1.44 billion liters. The Director of Public Affairs (NMDPRA) George Eneita confirmed in a report yesterday that daily fuel consumption had averaged 48 million liters, correcting earlier reports that suggested the lower figure of 38.94 million liters. The NMDPRA, however, pledged to work closely with relevant stakeholders to strengthen distribution and guarantee an uninterrupted supply of petroleum products across the country. And that's all on Business News. I am Adetinuyo Adebayo.
Moving to foreign orbits, charity group says new Israeli rules stopping critical aid getting into Gaza. Jemima Fataye is in the studio.
Good evening and welcome to Foreign News. Peru's President Dina Boluarte has signed a controversial new law pardoning soldiers, police and civilian militias on trial for atrocities during the country's two-decade armed conflict against Maoist rebels. Boluarte enacted a measure that was passed by Congress in July, despite an order from the Inter-American Court of Human Rights to suspend it pending a review of its impact on victims. Boluarte, elected in 2022 as the country's first female president, said the Peruvian government was paying tribute to the forces who she said fought against terrorism and in defense of democracy. Still on foreign news, more than 100 organizations have written a joint letter urging Israel to stop using aid as a tool of control in Gaza as hunger continues to grow worse. Humanitarian groups like Oxfam and Medicine Sans Frontiers (MSF) reports that they are increasingly being told they are not authorized to deliver aid unless they follow strict after Israeli rules. Recall the new guidelines introduced in March change how age groups must register to keep their status in Israel and include conditions that allow their applications to be denied or their registration cancelled. And that's all on foreign news. I'm Jemima Fateh.
In the showbiz world, Kate Henshaw cries out for help over accident victims. Abolade Tolulope is waiting to give us details.
Good evening and welcome to Entertainment Updates. Tiwa Savage, a 40-years-old Nigerian singer, is still searching for a life partner 6 years after her divorce. Speaking on national television today, she shared her ideal husband would be a young, wealthy man with no baby mama drama. She joked that her high standard might be the reason she is still single, admitting she is looking for someone with a private man and no unresolved family entanglements. Savage was married to Tunji Balogun, TBs, which ended in divorce in 2018, with the couple having a son, Jamil, together. Still on Entertainment Updates, Nollywood actress Kate Henshaw is demanding justice for the younger sister of reality TV star Fina, who was critically injured in a road accident allegedly involving a Dangote Group truck in Auchi, Edo State. Henshaw alleged that the vehicle license plate was removed, and she's urging the Nigerian police force to ensure justice to this case. Henshaw called upon Aliko Dangote, accusing the Dangote Group of attempting to shield those responsible for the accident. And that will be all for Entertainment Updates. I am Tolulope Abolade.
Moving to sports, Arsenal legend charges Arteta to make Odegaard the captain to ensure EPL glory. Sit back for more details. Good evening and welcome to Sports Updates. Arsenal legend Tony Adams have urged Mikel Arteta to make a tough call by naming Martin Odegaard as new captain for his side in order to lift the English Premier League title. Tony Adams himself, a former captain of the Gunners during Arsene Wenger's reign, played a pivotal role as the North London side lifted the Premier League on 4 occasions during the club's glory years. Still on sports, Spanish tactician Luis Enrique admits PSG rode their fortune in the dramatic late Super Cup victory over Tottenham as French giants snatched silverware in unpredictable thriller that left Tottenham Hotspur's heartbroken in the final moments. Paris Saint-Germain coach Luis Enrique delivered an honest assessment following their dramatic UEFA Super Cup victory over Tottenham Hotspur. He said the Tottenham team was a much better team than his own Paris Saint-Germain team. With this victory, PSG has become the first French club to win the UEFA Super Cup, adding yet another trophy to their successful 2025 campaign under Luis Enrique's guidance. And that's all on sports. With a sports story, we end this edition of News Express on Adamimogo 107.7 FM, Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti. Before we go, the highlights again. We brought it to you that the federal government has launched an ambitious national skills program to connect 20 million young Nigerians to job, training, and entrepreneurship opportunities by 2030, with women expected to make up at least 60% of participants. We also told you that the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has accused President Bola Tinubu of insensitivity to the situations of Nigerians with his constant foreign travels amidst Nigeria's myriad of economic and security challenges. And lastly, we told you the Federal Court of Canada has upheld a ruling that classified Nigeria's 2 major political parties, the All Progressive Congress (APC) and the People's Democratic Party (PDP), as terrorist organizations, while denying asylum to a former member, Douglas Egbereva, over his decade-long affiliation with both parties. And that's News Express from Adamimogo 107.7 FM, Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti. On behalf of the production crew led by King